An educational foundation whose mission is to spread a uncompromising view of the libertarian philosophy, economic liberty, individual rights to the layman. And we do it through a variety of venues. We do it with a monthly print journal, Freedom Daily, which we've been publishing for 20 years. We have samples of it, free samples at the display in the lobby. We also have a very active website. That's where most of our activity, of course, happens these days. And our most popular features through the web, it's our daily internet newsletter, FFF email update. It's also free for the taking. You can sign up for it at the display, or just send an email to fff@fff.org with subscribe in the subject line, and we can sign you up for that. And of course, we also spread the ideas of liberty in venues such as this, the Economic Liberty Lecture Series. This series is done co-sponsored in conjunction with the GMU Econ Society, and I'd like to just take a second to thank the Econ Society for helping us put this on. We couldn't do it without them. And those of you here at George Mason are very lucky to have the Econ Society. It is a stout group of students who run the organization. They, of course, have a world-class economics department to lean on to help them. And if you're a student here and you're not a member of the Econ Society, I highly recommend getting in touch with either Mike or Leah to join the club. You can help out with events such as this. You can learn a lot. You can have a fun time doing it. So please go and talk to them afterwards. Well, this is the fourth semester now that we have put this series on. We started this in the fall of 2008. And the purpose of the Economic Liberty Lecture Series is to stress the inextricable link between economic liberty and individual rights. And we have had a stellar lineup of speakers to help explain that link. It was kicked off with GMU's own Pete Becky. We've had Thomas DiLorenzo, James Bovard, Bruce Fine, Robert Higgs, Lawrence Reed, Lou Rockwell, and Stephen Horwitz so far. But out of all these speakers, I've got to say that I am extremely excited to have Sheldon Richman here tonight. Sheldon has been a part of the Future of Freedom Foundation for about 18 years now. He has had an article published in Freedom Daily almost all those 18 years. If you have a copy with you now, you'll see that he has the second article in there. He always does, behind our president, Jacob Hornberger. He's one of our most prolific writers. Out of all the opinion pieces that we get published in newspapers across the country, Sheldon by far gets the most published because his writing is just that good. He's also written 3 books for FFF. First of all, his award-winning book, Separating School and State, is very popular among the homeschooling crowd. Your Money or Your Life, about repealing the income tax. And of course, Tethered Citizens, which you should have a copy of right now, and if you don't, it's free up in the lobby. And Sheldon has been heavily involved in the liberty movement for a long time. He's a former senior editor at the Cato Institute, and when he left there, he went to work for the Foundation for Economic Education, who I know a lot of you guys are familiar with. Many of you have interned up there at their summer seminars. And he edits the Freeman magazine, which has influenced libertarians for decades. He's a graduate of Temple University. His articles have appeared in the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, American Scholar, Chicago Tribune, USA Today, the Washington Times, and many, many others. He is a contributor to the Fortune Encyclopedia of Economics, and his talk tonight is entitled Capitalism versus the Free Market. So let's give it a nice warm welcome for Sheldon Richman.
Well, thank you very much for all of you coming out here, and it's great to see so many old friends from FEE and other places. So it has the feel of a reunion as well as everything else. Yeah, the title we came up with was, we wanted to be provocative. Of course, I say we because that's my way of shifting some of the responsibility to Mr. Hornberger. The subtitle, which I didn't tell him about, is the good old days lie ahead of us. Now, I should say right at the top that I've pre-positioned some very serious errors in this talk, so we'll see how many of you are sharp enough to catch them. Okay. Now, as I'll make clear as I go along, this may sound like, something I want to say prior to that. I don't think I'm going to be saying anything new here. So before you start to wonder why you're here then, I'll quickly add that what I hope to do is emphasize some parts of the historical story that get overlooked or get understated, and that I think are more important and deserve more than that. Which therefore is the reason for my giving the talk. And so some of you may already know a lot of this or heard it, and well, you can tell me what you think of it after I finish. Now, this is March now, so in January, I was going to say last month. In January, the respected journalist Stephen Kinzer has written some very good books on the history of American intervention around the world, wrote an article in The Guardian under the title, Caribbean Communism versus Capitalism. And he begins the article like this: visiting unhappy Cuba is especially thought-provoking for anyone familiar with its unhappy neighbors. Cubans live difficult lives and have much to complain about. So do Jamaicans, Dominicans, Haitians, Guatemalans, Hondurans, Salvadorans, and others in the Caribbean basin who live under capitalist governments. Who is worse off? Does an ordinary person live better in Cuba or in a nearby capitalist country? I feel like these are blocking my face. How's that? Is that better? I need to get taller. Okay. Now, I think many people might read that article, that opening paragraph, without a pause, but presumably not libertarians. I mean, are Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador capitalist countries? It seems sort of startling to say that. Kinzer's matter-of-fact statement seems to conflict with other evidence. For example, the Heritage Foundation puts out an index of economic freedom every other year, which I think arguably overstates some countries' degree of economic freedom, but leave that aside. But it rates the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, El Salvador, and Guatemala as moderately free. In other words, not free or mostly free. So it's in the third tier. And Honduras and Haiti are rated mostly unfree. So it seems a little odd to be calling them capitalist in the way that most of the people in this room, or everybody in this room, would use that term. I mean, do the governments of those countries not regulate or interfere or otherwise manage the economies of those countries? It seems hard to believe. The news hasn't made it to me in Conway, Arkansas, that laissez-faire is practiced in Haiti, for example, or El Salvador, or Guatemala, any of those places. I mean, there are good libertarians in Guatemala, which is a good university, but I hadn't heard that they won the day. In fact, some of these countries have swung left, haven't they, in recent years, even when they might have had more free market orientation previously.